In the vast expanses of the ocean, a tense encounter unfolded that sent ripples through international waters. The Russian Navy ship, Admiral Grigorovich, found itself surrounded by a formidable presence of U.S. aircraft carriers. This event, filled with strategic maneuvers and high-stakes diplomacy, drew global attention. Here's a detailed breakdown of what happened and why it matters. Number 1. The encounter. The Russian frigate Admiral Grigorovich was conducting routine operations in the Mediterranean Sea. Known for its advanced missile systems and stealth capabilities, the ship is a key asset in Russia's naval fleet. Suddenly, a fleet of U.S. aircraft carriers, including the USS Nimitz and USS Ronald Reagan, appeared on the horizon. These carriers, equipped with F-18 fighter jets and sophisticated radar systems, represent the pinnacle of American naval power. In a surprising turn of events, the Russian vessel found itself surrounded by the U.S. fleet, a clear show of power and strategic positioning. The Admiral Grigorovich, designed for anti-submarine warfare and armed with Caliber cruise missiles, immediately went on high alert. Its crew was trained for such scenarios, understanding the delicate balance of power in these tense waters. The U.S. carriers, carrying over 70 aircraft each, began their maneuvers. The USS Nimitz, the oldest serving aircraft carrier in the world, and the USS Ronald Reagan, a newer Nimitz-class carrier, both demonstrated their strategic prowess. Their movements were calculated, showcasing the might of the U.S. Navy and sending a clear message of deterrence. Amidst the high tension, communication channels between the two navies were opened. The Russian captain asserted their right to operate in international waters, emphasizing that their actions were purely defensive. The U.S. commanders, maintaining a firm stance, reiterated their commitment to ensuring freedom of navigation and the importance of upholding international maritime laws. This naval dance continued for several hours, with both sides closely monitoring each other's actions. The sophisticated radar systems on the U.S. carriers tracked every movement of the Russian frigate, while the Admiral Grigorovich's advanced sensors kept a vigilant watch on the surrounding American ships. Despite the high stakes, no aggressive moves were made, highlighting the professionalism and discipline of both naval forces. Number 2, strategic movements. As the U.S. carriers closed in, the tension escalated. The Admiral Grigorovich's crew went on high alert, preparing for any possible confrontation. The U.S. carriers, while maintaining a non-aggressive stance, strategically positioned themselves around the Russian ship. This maneuver, often referred to as a show of force, is designed to demonstrate military superiority and deter any potential aggression. The Admiral Grigorovich, a frigate equipped with advanced missile systems and stealth technology, became the focal point of this high-stakes encounter. Its crew, trained for such scenarios, prepared defensive measures while maintaining strict communication protocols. The surrounding U.S. fleet, including the formidable USS Nimitz and USS Ronald Reagan, showcased their operational prowess through precise movements, signaling their dominant presence without direct confrontation. The U.S. Navy's strategic positioning aimed to create a psychological impact, emphasizing their capability to control the region's maritime space. By encircling the Russian frigate, the U.S. carriers highlighted their technological and numerical advantage. The F-18 fighter jets on deck were ready for rapid deployment, further reinforcing the carrier's strategic threat. The radar systems of the U.S. ships, capable of tracking and intercepting potential threats from significant distances, ensured a comprehensive surveillance perimeter around the Admiral Grigorovich. In response, the Russian crew maintained a posture of readiness, balancing between defense and diplomacy. The Admiral Grigorovich's electronic warfare systems monitored U.S. communications, assessing their intentions and preparing countermeasures if necessary. The frigate's captain engaged in measured communication with U.S. commanders, asserting their operational rights while navigating the delicate dynamics of international maritime law. This intricate dance of naval strategy continued for hours, with each side displaying a blend of caution and assertiveness. The U.S. carriers' movements were meticulously planned, aimed at deterring any aggressive action from the Russian vessel. The Admiral Grigorovich, meanwhile, navigated through the tension with calculated precision, ensuring their operations continued without provoking a direct conflict. Number 3, communication and diplomacy. Despite the high tension, Both sides engaged in communication to avoid any accidental escalation. The Russian captain sent a message to the U.S. fleet, emphasizing their right to navigate international waters. In response, the U.S. commanders reiterated their commitment to freedom of navigation and the importance of maintaining open communication channels. This exchange began with the Admiral Grigorovich's captain initiating contact through a secure maritime channel. The message underscored Russia's adherence to international maritime laws and highlighted the non-threatening nature of their operations. The Russian captain stressed the routine nature of their maneuvers, aimed at ensuring their naval presence in the Mediterranean Sea. On the other side, the U.S. commanders, stationed on the USS Nimitz and USS Ronald Reagan, received the message with a measured response. Acknowledging the Russian communication, the U.S. fleet emphasized the importance of open and transparent dialogue to prevent misunderstandings. The U.S. Navy's response also highlighted their unwavering commitment to freedom of navigation, a principle upheld by international law and critical for maintaining stability in strategic waters. The communication between the two naval forces was facilitated by advanced communication systems, ensuring clarity and minimizing the risk of misinterpretation. These systems are designed to handle high-stress scenarios, providing real-time data and secure channels for exchange. The dialogue was marked by professionalism, with both sides keenly aware of the potential consequences of any misstep. Amidst the tense atmosphere, these communication efforts played a crucial role in maintaining peace. The Admiral Grigorovich's crew, constantly monitoring the situation, relied on the captain's updates to remain informed. Similarly, the U.S. fleet maintained a steady stream of information, coordinating their movements and responses to ensure a unified stance. This strategic communication also involved diplomatic channels beyond the immediate encounter. Diplomatic envoys from both countries engaged in back-channel discussions, reinforcing the messages exchanged at sea. These diplomatic efforts aim to de-escalate the situation and reaffirm mutual respect for maritime operations. Number 4. The underlying tensions. This encounter is not an isolated incident, but part of a broader context of rising geopolitical tensions between Russia and the United States. The presence of multiple U.S. carriers in close proximity to a Russian warship underscores the strategic importance of the Mediterranean region. Both nations are vying for influence, with the U.S. aiming to reassure its allies and Russia asserting its naval capabilities. The Mediterranean Sea has long been a strategic arena for power projection, and recent developments have only heightened its significance. Russia's increased naval activity in this region is a clear statement of its intention to maintain a strong maritime presence. The Admiral Grigorovich, equipped with advanced missile systems and stealth technology, symbolizes this renewed focus. Meanwhile, the U.S., with its powerful aircraft carriers like the USS Nimitz and USS Ronald Reagan, seeks to counterbalance Russia's moves, showcasing its ability to project power and support regional allies. These maneuvers reflect deeper geopolitical strategies. For the U.S., the deployment of its carriers serves multiple purposes, demonstrating support for NATO allies, deterring potential adversaries, and maintaining open sea lanes crucial for international trade. The U.S. Navy's presence is a signal to allies in Europe and the Middle East that American military support remains steadfast. On the Russian side, the operations of the Admiral Grigorovich in the Mediterranean are part of a broader effort to expand its influence and protect its interests. This includes securing its naval base in Tartus, Syria, and projecting power into the eastern Mediterranean. Russia's strategy involves not only military posturing, but also diplomatic efforts to build alliances and influence in the region. The interaction between the U.S. and Russian navies in the Mediterranean is also a reflection of their broader global rivalry. As both nations seek to extend their reach and influence, the potential for friction increases. Each naval encounter becomes a microcosm of their strategic objectives and military doctrines. The U.S. emphasizes freedom of navigation and the protection of international waters, while Russia focuses on defending its perceived sphere of influence and demonstrating its military capabilities. Number 5. What happened next? After several hours of maneuvering and communication, the situation de-escalated. The U.S. carriers maintained their positions, while the Admiral Grigorovich continued its operations. No aggressive actions were taken, highlighting the effectiveness of naval diplomacy and the importance of restraint in such high-stakes situations. As the tense standoff continued, both fleets demonstrated remarkable discipline. The U.S. aircraft carriers, with their formidable presence, held a non-aggressive stance, their advanced radar systems constantly monitoring the Russian frigates' movements. The Admiral Grigorovich, equipped with sophisticated missile systems, remained vigilant, but refrained from any provocative maneuvers. The dialogue between the two navies played a crucial role in de-escalating the situation. The U.S. commanders, stationed on the USS Nimitz and USS Ronald Reagan, communicated their intent to maintain freedom of navigation and assured the Russian vessel of their non-hostile posture. This open line of communication helped to alleviate immediate concerns and establish a mutual understanding. On board the Admiral Grigorovich, the crew continued their routine operations with heightened awareness. The Russian captain, recognizing the importance of avoiding unnecessary confrontation, directed his team to adhere strictly to their operational protocols. The frigate's electronic warfare systems remained active, monitoring any signals from the surrounding U.S. fleet to ensure no sudden escalations occurred. The strategic positioning of the U.S. carriers served as a powerful deterrent, emphasizing their capability to respond if necessary. However, their restraint in avoiding aggressive actions showcased a commitment to peace and stability. This restraint was reciprocated by the Russian side, highlighting a shared understanding of the potential risks involved in such close encounters. As hours passed, the situation gradually normalized. The U.S. carriers continued to patrol the area, projecting strength while maintaining a safe distance from the Russian frigate. The Admiral Grigorovich, meanwhile, resumed its mission, navigating the Mediterranean waters with a keen eye on the surrounding naval presence. This episode underscored the importance of naval diplomacy in managing high-tension situations. The successful de-escalation was a testament to the professionalism of both navies and their ability to communicate effectively under pressure. It also highlighted the critical role of restraint in ensuring that strategic objectives are pursued without compromising regional stability. Number 6. Implications for international relations. This event serves as a stark reminder of the delicate balance of power in international waters. The ability of both navies to manage the encounter without incident speaks to the professionalism and discipline of their respective forces. However, it also highlights the ever-present risks of miscommunication and the need for robust diplomatic channels. The Mediterranean Sea, a strategic hotspot, has long been a theater for power projection by global superpowers. The recent encounter between the Russian frigate Admiral Grigorovich and the U.S. aircraft carriers USS Nimitz and USS Ronald Reagan underscores the geopolitical significance of this region. The presence of such formidable naval forces in close proximity illustrates the intense competition for influence. The ability of both navies to communicate effectively during this high-stakes situation prevented a potential crisis. This incident showcases the critical role of clear and immediate communication in avoiding misunderstandings that could escalate into conflict. The use of secure maritime channels and real-time data exchange allowed both sides to navigate the tense encounter with caution and precision. However, this event also reveals the underlying tensions that persist between the U.S. and Russia. As both nations seek to assert their dominance, the risk of miscalculation remains high. The strategic maneuvers and positioning of naval assets are often interpreted as signals of intent, making the need for diplomatic engagement even more crucial. The encounter has significant implications for international relations, particularly in how global powers manage their military presence in contested regions. It highlights the importance of maintaining open communication lines, not only during crises, but also as a preventive measure. Regular dialogue and mutual understanding can mitigate the risks associated with such close encounters. Moreover, the event emphasizes the need for continued investment in naval capabilities and training. The professionalism displayed by the crews of both the Admiral Grigorovich and the U.S. carriers reflects years of rigorous preparation and adherence to international protocols. Ensuring that naval forces are well equipped to handle similar situations in the future is vital for maintaining regional stability.